what's up? It's your girl Toya. Welcome back to Beauty for Ashes. I got my husband with me tonight, DJ, and I'm starting a new section of Beauty for Ashes called Pillow Talk, where we're going to be talking about marital issues and things like that, in addition to the other videos that I do. So I'm very excited because I've been working on this for a long time, on my first series ever. So this is an exclusive. So we are going to be talking about Make It Last Forever. That is the name of the series. I hope you got your pen and paper handy because you might want to take some notes. So even though this is catered to married couples, I mean, it certainly could be beneficial even if you're just in a serious relationship or even if you're looking to get into one. Because, we're trying to equip you with the tools that you're going to need to have a successful marriage, a long-term relationship. Alright, so tonight's episode is called The Honeymoon is Over. It is the first of a 3-part series, so make sure you tune in for all 3, and they're going to be dropping for the next 3 Fridays, maybe Saturday morning if it's after midnight, but by the time you go to my channel, they'll all be up and running. So I decided to bring my husband in because, we've been married it'll be 7 years this year in December, but we've been together for about 9 years, and we've definitely been through some ups and downs. So I thought, who better to share my platform with than my husband, because we done been through it all. So I wanted to pose a question to him tonight, like, how did he know that our honeymoon phase was over? And then I'll also give my answer as to when I think our honeymoon phase was over. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, in the beginning, it's a whole lot of courting, so I don't know. It's like, I guess I realized when we started bickering about stuff more.
But how far into our relationship would you think that was?
It was probably, because we didn't really bicker during the dating. It was after we had Mandel.
See, you stole my answer. Because for me, that's when the honeymoon stage was over. Because I feel like before I got pregnant, well, not even the pregnancy, because I feel like even throughout the pregnancy, we were still vibing, like everything was still like the lovey-dovey type of thing. But it was actually 2 things for me. It was definitely once we had Mandel, which is our youngest son, and also, we were having a little DJ more, which is my bonus son, his son. And then also, you got sick.
Yeah.
So all of those things kind of happened at once. I always tell people, like, we went through all of our vows in like the first 2 years of us being together, even before we like got married, because we ended up getting married after we had our youngest son. So my husband, he sustained a head injury at work, so he basically ended up having a seizure, and he almost died. They said he actually did flatline for a minute when he was in the ambulance, so it was like a real scary time. But he wasn't himself after the accident, and that was just like, it was a lot. You see somebody every day, you see them healthy and strong, and then you see them not even being able to tie their shoe or button their shirt.
All right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Then I was more in a caretaker role. Me and my daughter Mimi, we were pretty much taking on the role and tasks that he was normally doing, and more of a caretaker. And mind you, I'm pregnant at the same time. I was 9.5 months pregnant when he had the seizure. Like, I was due in like 2 weeks. So it was a very, very stressful time for us. And then also, he wasn't working, I wasn't working. So we went through the financial hardship. So that was another thing we had to endure. So that's what I'm saying. We went through in sickness and in health, for richer, for poor, for better, or for worse. And the key part of that is for better or for worse, because nobody wants to stick around when worse come. Like, it sounds cute when you're saying your vows, but when worse actually comes, it's just like, that's really the test of your marriage and your foundation. So it definitely. So I'm gonna say after the first 2 years is when things got real for us, when it wasn't just this blissful state all the time. And we're still very much in love with each other, but our marriage,
very affectionate.
Yeah, very affectionate. But our marriage has been tested. Our relationship has been tested. So it's just I want people to know basically what to prepare yourself for when you get out of the honeymoon phase, because it's all good at first, and it's like you just so in love and like everything's going good, and you don't really have the responsibilities of a marriage initially, when you're just dating it, or even like the early stages of a marriage, because a lot of times what I find is that people don't even discuss the real stuff until after they get married. So the stuff you're supposed to discuss beforehand, like, how we gonna handle our money, how we gonna raise our children, you know, gender roles and things like that. Like a lot of times people actually talk about that after they're married. So it's kind of like a ton of bricks just fall on your relationship. Like what? And I know for him and I specifically, we didn't really talk about parenting. We talked about wanting to have a child together, but we didn't really talk about, well, who's going to be the disciplinarian? Who's going to manage the way that they eat? Are they going to be allowed to play sports? Just different things that you just don't think about. Like all of these things.
Did we talk about religion?
With the children?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know religion, that was another hot button topic for him and I. But yeah, as far as the children, I don't think we really even got deep into that. So that's another very important thing, especially if you and your significant other share different beliefs.
Yeah.
That can be a very, very touchy subject. So you want to consider all of those things, before you get married, before you get into anything really serious with anyone. You want to make sure y'all on the same page, at least as much as possible. Something that I dealt with is kind of like when, at first certain chores be kind of cute, what I'm saying? Like, oh, I cooked dinner for my man, or, ooh, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to clean the house up while he at work, and like at first, all those things, it's just like cute little things you do to kind of bring somebody in. You want someone to be attracted to you, and you want somebody to be feeling you like that. Like for me personally, I always have to like sell myself and show my best self. I want you to see everything you could be getting if you make me your girl, or you make me your wife. Like this is the package that you're gonna be getting. And I have very, very good intentions. I mean to keep this thing going, but life be changing. So it's hard to maintain that over time when you throw in different dynamics, like the children, like sickness, like finances, like communication, like sex. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. Oh, that's another thing. Sex.
Oh yeah.
Sex changes a lot in a marriage and relationship because, not to be TMI, but it was on and popping for a while with us. Probably until late in my pregnancy, I would say, because I got put on bed rest or whatever the case may be. But like once the baby came, like that part of our life was kind of out the window. We was good and we got to it once or twice every couple of weeks or whatever. Because your life just changed so much. So it wasn't that the attraction wasn't there. We were very much attracted to each other, and we still wanted to be very sexually active. But it's just like, when you have small children, and we had 2 small children, and then my oldest daughter, she was very helpful, but she was transitioning from being a teenager to a young adult, so she had some things that she was dealing with and going through. So when you throw all that stuff in, then you worry about how you can pay the bills. Like your mind don't be there all the time, So you can have the best intention, but be like, yeah, tonight, yeah, it's gonna be on.
Oh, I'm gonna work 'em.
Yeah, I'm gonna work them. Then get upstairs, I'm out. Like I fall asleep in a minute. Like if you don't be up here in the next 5 minutes, I'm done. But again, those are things it's kind of hard to plan for and prepare for, because a lot of people be like, yeah, when I get married, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be this type of wife or this type of husband, and you probably will initially.
Yeah.
But how are you going to be when you throw all those other different variables into the picture?
And it's kind of good to think about those things in advance, like think about how you're going to sustain. I know for myself, I thought about those things before, I got into a relationship. Like, all right, so once I'm in it, what am I going to do? how am I going? Because a lot of people get comfortable and let themselves go and do this and do that. And if you give it a thought before, you know you're more apt not to fall into that pattern that people get. You know that they like to fall into.
Yeah, and you get complacent.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like people let themselves go, and again, you never intend for that to happen. Because him and I, we always joke like, "Yo, when we go become like the auntie and the uncle." You know how you go to the store and you just see people and like they the same age as you, but they look like 20 years older. You know, they got on like some jogging pants and some church shoes, and you're like, "Yo, when did that happen?" You know what I'm saying? And it's like now, I mean, we ain't that bad, but you know, when we know we just gotta go out to the grocery store or whatever, we just throwing on something. We not trying to be G'd up or put on our best apparel. It's like, yo, let me grab this T-shirt, these sweatpants I've been wearing all week. Throw my hair up in some type of ponytail, if it make it into a ponytail, and you just out the house. You know, you got the kids you got to drag, and you know what I'm saying. You got to get them dressed. It's just like it's a lot. So you do have to be very intentional about keeping yourself up. You know, making sure you're still attractive for the other person, and you know, like he was saying, just kind of think about things ahead of time, being proactive. And exercising foresight, you know. So I think it's good to just, you know, when you think you found your ideal mate, just to really think about the qualities that you want to have in somebody, and also just talk to that person. You know, when if y'all considering marriage or engagement or whatever, y'all really want to sit down and talk about sex, talk about money, talk about children, talk about religion, you know, who house we going to for the holidays, just all those type of things. Just kind of think of different scenarios that could potentially come up, because all of those things can affect your marriage over time. You know, it's like a little bit here, a little bit there, but after a while it start piling up and it becomes a big deal.
Yeah, small things pile up to a big situation.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm just trying to help y'all. You know, we just trying to school y'all, because, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say we're experts, but I will say we are experienced because we've been through so much. But I feel like we're qualified to talk about it because we're sustaining our marriage, and we're also committed to our marriage. So that's one thing that I love about him and I. Like, we basically said no matter what, we're committed to this marriage. Like, through the ups and downs, we're gonna see it through. And so when you know that that other person is in it with you, then it's easier to navigate through the difficult times. I believe a lot of marriages fail because that commitment is not there. It's like as soon as things go left, they out the door. You know, they talking divorce and break up and all that. And you know, we're all human, so we all have our thoughts, but that shouldn't be the first thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more like, all right, how can we resolve this? A key thing that him and I do, we're very solution focused. So when we realize we have a problem in the marriage, it's like, all right, what we gonna do to fix it? Obviously, we've identified that we have an issue. Now what? What we gonna do about it? Type of thing. So I would encourage that, be very solution focused, because talking about the problem is not gonna make the problem go away. Talk about solutions to the problem is where you're gonna see some traction. Let me take a look at my handy dandy notepad, because you know, I told you I'll be writing notes for this. I don't just be coming off the cuff most of the time. See, some of this stuff is from my next episode. So and also I want to say, just build a solid foundation, because just like when you're building a house, like you don't want a storm to come through and just wipe your house away because your foundation not strong. So you want to build a solid foundation in the beginning of your relationship. You know, you want to lay the groundwork. You want to, you know, put the time in. You want to put the effort into making your relationship and your marriage strong enough to withstand the test of time, and also just withstand all the ups and downs that come with a relationship. So anything else you can think of about just the beginning stages of a marriage or relationship, like the honeymoon stage, or what would cause it to come to an end?
Well, as you get I guess I want to say communication. If we haven't, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, just knowing how to communicate with your partner and hearing them. You know, because a lot of times one will just hear what they want to hear and kind of let it be, and not really focus on what your part. If like my thing is, if you really want your partner to be happy, learn how to effectively communicate, and you do that by just listening. You know, they're gonna tell you a lot of times what they want, and it's your decision to do it or not. You know.
That's true, and just be very specific in your communication. The other person is not a mind reader. I'm guilty of that myself. Like I have a way of just tiptoeing around issues and not really saying exactly what it is that I need or want. So you definitely have to make your desires known to your spouse. You can't leave that up for debate or question or interpretation. You have to spit it out specifically. Because an example of something that he did one time, he just kind of kept telling me how to make certain things, like different type of foods. He'd be like, yeah, you should try to make this. It's easy. Or, I think we got this in the kitchen. If you put that together, you probably can make this. And it was like every week he was just telling me all these little things I could do. And I'm like, okay, why are you telling me this? Like I wasn't getting it. So he was trying to tell me that he wanted me to cook more. But instead of saying, I want you to cook more, he just kept giving me all these little suggestions of things I could do. And I wasn't picking up what he was throwing down. And then one day, I just decided, like, how come you keep suggesting these things? Like, why don't you just do it then if it's that easy? He's like, well, because I want you to cook more. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you could have just told me that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just little things like that. Because, I guess it's hard to always make your requests known or whatever. You just want your spouse to know you in that way. You want them to... to connect and vibe with you and just kind of feel where you at. And that's just not always the case. So if you see that your significant other may be missing the mark, you just got to bring it back home. Like, look, babe, I need A, B, C, and D. Just kind of spit it out just like that. But guys, we have a lot more to get to, but I'm going to again, pick it up in the later episodes because we're going to touch on a lot of different things. But we just wanted to start here with the honeymoon stage is over. Now what, and just things that lead up to that honeymoon stage being over. But as always, guys, I hope you like the video. Be sure to subscribe, share it, like it, comment, talk to me if you have questions or anything else y'all want to see us discuss. Hit me up, let me know.